advancement. Krish, take it away.
Thank you, Karen. Good afternoon. I am glad you're all doing well and safe. Uh, the ORA, the WHO, well, uh, we are not OSP, we are ORA, Office of Research Advancement, a new initiative formed by Dr. Rajan with the specific mission of supporting the enhancement of research, innovation, and scholarly efforts of the faculty, staff, and students. Obviously, all these activities require funding, and of course, we support uh, some activities with the seed funds, but our main mission is to help you secure funding. We do that in several ways, and our team consists of Dr. Shonda Green, Dr. Kimberly Loesch, and myself. Today, we are going to focus on activities that directly involve you, faculty members, many of whom have already interacted with our research development officers. So without much further ado, I would welcome Dr. Kimberly Loesch to share with you what services our office can offer to you directly. Kim?
Thank you, Krish. And I'd like to thank everybody for joining us today. And we hope that at the end of our presentation, you will know a little bit more about who ORA is and how we can assist you in getting research funding. So if you take a look at the word cloud, you see a number of words that describe the ORA mission. Basically, we want to assist faculty and research administrators here on campus in getting funding for their research through help with proposal preparation and submission. We can do this through varied ways, such as editing and proofreading, setting up one-on-one opportunities for us to discuss with you the funding opportunity that you're interested in. We can also assist you by setting up collaborative teams. And then throughout the year, we're going to be having workshops and seminars. Throughout the summer, we're going to be offering 3 workshops on grant writing, the essentials of a competitive proposal, and how to apply to funding at different funding agencies such as the NSF or NIH. While we do like to focus on opportunities that would get you research funding for $500,000 or more for a multi-year project, no amount of money is too small for you to ask for our help. We are here to assist you in getting research funding. So right now at Prairie View, there are 197 active projects. That includes everything on campus, not just research proposals. Currently, give or take, there's about 86 proposals in development with due dates from now until the end of the year. And for the fiscal year 20, Prairie View A&M has submitted 164 proposals. Some people like to work alone, but working alone when preparing a proposal is somewhat difficult. So we would like to be your support team. And remember that teamwork makes the dream work. When doing a proposal, we first have to identify the funding opportunity to apply to. Listed on this slide are a number of federal agencies that you could look for funding from. Here at ORA, what we would like to do is we would like to know what your research is so we can tailor searches for specific research opportunities to benefit your research project. Next slide. So where can you look for these funding opportunities? Well, if you would like, you could bookmark our website at the Research Advancement Funding Opportunities webpage. There we list a number of websites that we use on a daily basis to look for funding. One of those is grants.gov, which includes all federal funding agencies and the opportunities that they have for you to apply to. The other is Pivot. Pivot is a database of federal and private foundations and organizations that list out funding opportunities that you can apply to, and they also list out funding opportunities that students can apply to. At the end of this presentation, we will go through and walk you through our website so you can see where these links are, along with a number of other things. So say you have identified a funding opportunity and it is noted as a limited submission. On our website, again, we have a limited submissions table that lists out these opportunities. So can anybody tell me what a limited submission opportunity means? If you want, you can raise your hand or comment in the chat box. Anybody? Okay, go ahead, Shonda. So a limited submission means that as an institution, Prairie View has a limited number of proposals it can submit to that funding opportunity. As such, there is an internal mechanism in place to select the proposals that would be most competitive for full proposal submission. So what happens is the ORA identifies a limited submission proposal, and then 6 to 8 weeks before the deadline for the full proposal, we will institute an internal deadline in which a pre-proposal is due. And so how do you go about applying for a limited funding opportunity? Anybody got to guess what the first step is? Okay. Want to go ahead? So the first thing, obviously, as I've said, is to identify the funding opportunity. The next thing is, does anybody know what the next thing is? We haven't covered it yet, but it's the intent to submit. So that lets all of the entities within our office and within research and innovation know that you are intending to submit a funding opportunity or a proposal to this funding opportunity. After that, a month before the internal deadline, ORA will send out an email to everybody that lists the proposal funding announcement and then the guidelines for that funding announcement. And these guidelines are specific to the funding announcement for a pre-proposal, which is a short document of 4 to 5 pages that discusses what you want to propose in the grant. Once you submit your pre-proposal by the internal deadline date, they will all of the people who have submitted, the pre-proposals will be gathered, and then an ad hoc selection committee will be formed, and they will review those limited submission pre-proposals to select the most competitive proposals to go forward. If you are selected, then you will be notified. At this time, Dr. Krish would like to talk more about the selection committee.
I'm sure many of you are aware of limited submissions, and what we do is we collect pre-proposals according to specific guidelines which are dependent upon the funding agency's solicitation. After the internal deadline is over, we collect all those pre-proposals. Then we assemble a team of reviewers from PVMU faculty, keeping in mind there is no conflict of interest. And typically, we arrange for every pre-proposal to be reviewed by 3 or more reviewers. Then the ad hoc committee will meet, discuss the reviews, and advance recommendations to VPR. Then VPR will take into account the strategic aims of the university, and then will make the final selection. And then the selected pre-proposals authors or the PIs will be contacted by ORA or OSP. Then they will be advised to submit full proposals through the Office of Sponsored Programs.
Thank you,
Kim.
Thank you, Krish. And now Dr. Shonda Green will continue on with the process of proposal preparation and submission.
Good afternoon, everyone. So I'm going to talk with you about the process, how to get started, and then we're going to play a few games. So when you initially are interested in, as Kim said in the limited submission page, submitting a proposal, or you've found some funding that you're interested in, then you'll go to our PVAMU research page, and you're going to see on the page, and you'll see this at the end as well, this box that's us, ORA, with the star and the arrow. You'll go to funding opportunities, and then you will get to this, the intent to submit form. The form is fairly brief, and you will complete this form whether you are planning to apply for a limited submission or a brand new submission, or even if it's a resubmission of something that was not previously funded, but you're interested in moving forward with that at this time. We are also available to review those previous comments and assist you and support you in that resubmission along with all of the other options. For the process, some of the things that we are able to support you in are developing an outline, taking an RFP, and we go through and we create an outline based on the specific areas of what that funder is looking for, designing a timeline, general suggestions, questions regarding specific sponsors. NIH has different guidelines than NSF, and they have different guidelines than NEH, and so we can assist you with that, as well as supporting your communication with the funding agency program managers. We can support your work with interdisciplinary projects, whether it's setting up meetings, in providing you with suggestions on someone else on campus who may be interested or maybe a good collaborating partner. PI meetings, we can facilitate those or assist you in facilitating those. And then we also provide editing and review, which usually takes about a 2-day turnaround. Our review and editing services, this is just a look at what you typically will get back. So whether you provide us with 6 pages or 36 pages, we get the range. We will go through with track changes. We take our time. We go through word for word. We review and provide feedback, questions, comments, syntax, grammar corrections. And if you are interested in having us review again, we certainly are open to reviewing as many times as needed, given that there is enough time for you to still get it in by the deadline. These are our ORA staff areas. Each of us focus on a different area. We do get to collaborate oftentimes because so many of the proposals have more than one area or more than one discipline involved. But Kim will start by going through her areas.
Thanks, Shonda. So just a little bit of background about me. I have a PhD in cell biology. So my focus is on some of the STEM areas. So I focus on the Department of Agriculture, the science departments, biology, physics, and chemistry, mathematics, nutrition science, nursing, computer science, including cybersecurity.
Thank you. And my doctorate is in education and in critical pedagogy and leadership. So I focus and get to work with social work, the sciences, all of education, business, the arts, way over in Hobart, Texas. I work with them. I get to work with the History Center, architecture, ROTC, languages, communication, and then all of engineering with the exception of computer science. So that's, those are my regulars, but I also get to collaborate with Kim quite a bit. Krish?
I was a longtime faculty member with the dinosaur as a pet before joining Prairie View. Right now, I collaborate and coordinate many activities with the sole aim of helping the PV community to enlarge and enhance the research capacity. So I work with the VPR and business manager mainly to carry out different aspects, different support mechanisms. Some of these are familiar to you: data blitz, then interdisciplinary group formation, faculty research development, then establishing partnerships with the external entities, either universities or federal agencies, encouraging them to visit us, sharing with us guidelines or tips for submitting competitive proposals, or any activity that would help our faculty and researchers to submit competitive proposals. So that is our overall aim, and we interact with the different units as one huge division to accomplish that main goal.
Thank you. So how does collaborative work begin between ORA and you all? If you will look down and toggle at the bottom of your screen, your Zoom screen, you'll see that under reactions, you can wave your virtual hand, and then Ms. Cotton will call on you. So if someone could please give me any idea as to how the collaborative work can begin between ORA and you. Just one virtual hand. I was a high school teacher, so I'm really good with wait time. Nobody? Okay, so in order to get the work started, as we mentioned, just to reiterate, ORA identifies potential funding opportunities and sends them to you, or you may identify a funding opportunity and contact us. Of course, the intent to submit form, you put that in and it's going to contact all key stakeholders. So we will be notified as soon as you send that email, as well as all of the other parties that need to begin the work with you for successfully getting your proposal completed. And then of course, at any time you can email or call us, talk to us about your research. We have people just contact us and say, I'm interested in this, or I previously had this project going on, or we were in this group and we're just wondering if there's funding available. Any of those options are available to you, and we can set up specific searches and send you grants and RFPs that meet those search guidelines. So now we're going to try to have a role reversal frequently asked questions. And so we're going to go through and ask a question that we often get. And hopefully one of you will raise your virtual hand and provide us with an answer. There is no wrong answer. So I need money. Now what is one that we get? How would you respond? How do you think that we might respond to that? I know it's summertime. It's rough. Anyone? So if you need money, then, oh, Ms. Cotton, yes, please.
I think you would say for what?
I would say for what? Thank you. Yes, we would ask you what you're interested in. What are you hoping for? What kind of range are you interested in? What do you plan to do? Do you want to collaborate there? We would have a really in-depth conversation so that we can make sure that our support is getting you where you need to go, and that we have a thorough understanding of what it is that you want to do.
I had a project a few years ago and I need money to continue work. Can you help?
Dr. Du Bois.
Like, I'd say yes.
Thank you. Kim, do you want to expound? I love that answer.
Sure.
You said role reversal. Someone's calling you and said, I did a project, I need money, can you help? Yes, I mean, what's the project? How much money you're looking for? You know, did you find a grant opportunity out there? When's the deadline? Those are the questions I'd be asking.
That's correct. We would also ask you what funding you had for the previous year, or for your previous work, because you could maybe go back to that same funding mechanism, or we could find you another one.
Thank you.
Also, it is important to specify your research areas, because then we can find specific opportunities that are more suited to your research area.
I have this great idea. Can someone help me find funds to do the work?
Shonda, I think people are in the chat box. Do you have it open?
I can't see it with this when I'm screen sharing, so someone would
Okay.
have. Ms. Cotton, can you read me the question or the answer?
I sure can.
Thank you.
The answer is yes, tell me a little more about your project, and that's from Selena Tate.
Thank you. Absolutely. So yes, always tell us more about the project. Can you give us some more information? This idea sounds really good. We may need to make suggestions to assist you in making it work for the agency that most closely meets your needs. And then we would send you some potential funding opportunities, and you could let us know if we seem to be on the right track or if we were needing to go in another direction. And then we're constantly on the lookout for something that meets your great idea.
Can I contact you if I'm just confused? Who do I contact if I have questions about the budget or funding or the funding opportunity?
Anything in the chat?
Not yet.
Nothing in the chat.
Okay.
So yes, always contact us if you're confused. If you find a funding opportunity and you read it and you're just like, I don't understand this, please contact us by email, phone, and we'll sit down and go through the funding opportunity with you to clear up any confusion. One thing that we have been getting just a little bit of people not understanding, especially when it comes to a budget. So budget is pretty much handled by sponsored programs. We can maybe give you some pointers, but we don't know all the ins and outs of the budget. So that's set up by sponsored programs. But we are happy to work with them and work with you to get your proposal prepared and submitted.
And we have been working with OSP. We have been coordinating activities for limited submission with OSP. We are not OSP, but we coordinate and we work with OSP.
I'm reading through an RFP and don't understand where to start. Can you assist? So resoundingly, the answer is yes, absolutely. And we would be happy to, if you send us over an RFP, we do this all the time, we'll be happy to go through it. We can create an outline that kind of pulls out the main points, make sure that you're not missing any specific areas, meet with you and your team to go over the RFP and make sure that everyone's clear on what's needed, the deadlines, if there is an LOI, a letter of intent that needs to go in early. So absolutely, we can assist. And Ms. Cotton?
There's a question in the chat box. Chris, you referenced sponsored programs. So if you could expand a little bit on what does that mean? Who are they?
Office of Sponsored Program deals with submission of your proposals, whereas ORA, or Office of Research Advancement, deals with preparing competitive proposals. All proposals must go through the Office of Sponsored Programs. You can find a link on the landing page of research, just as Dr. Green showed you Office of Research Advancement. There is a button, you click on it, it will give you all the contact information. So all proposals must be submitted through the Office of Sponsored Programs. Have I answered the question?
Thank you, Chris.
All right.
I am new to the university and don't know how I should or could collaborate on grants. Can you help? Obviously, again, the answer is yes. One of our tasks is to help set up collaborative teams for grants. So as long you can contact us and tell us a little bit about your research, and then we can take that and try and find the best fit of people for you to collaborate with on campus.
There are a couple of things which are already carried out. One is the data blitz. If you attend data blitz in a short time, you get to know other faculty members and their research areas. So if your research area can contribute to or can work in a complementary way with others research areas, you can directly contact that person. We also have a research capability book which lists all faculties names, contact addresses and research areas. That is available now, so that will also provide information. And you can feel free to contact any of us. If you mention your research areas, we can identify potential collaborators for you.
And
Thanks.
finally, I've completed my proposal. Who submits the funding to the funding agency on my behalf? Who is it that pushes the button and sends it off to the funding agency?
So this is Dr. DeBose.
Yes.
And when I was working with Coleman, Coleman wants the program director to submit the submission. It's a part of their, I can't even think of the name of their tool that they use. I did submit one a year or so ago, and I think we made arrangements that someone from your end did have access and submitted, but I guess to answer that question, it would depend on your funding agency of what their guidelines are.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you, Dr. DeBose. That's true. The vast majority are submitted via OSP. So that's Miss Yancey and Miss Elizabeth Vasquez. And they are the people who generally hit the button, but you are absolutely right. It does depend on the funding agency.
But in any case, please contact OSP first.
Yes, thank you, Chris. And so as mentioned, we are now going to briefly take you through the website to familiarize you with the different resources that we talked about. So here's the landing page for research and innovation. And Kim, do you want to tell me where we're going?
Yes, sorry. So as you scroll down the page, you'll see information about research funding at the university. Down here, there's
Office of Research Advancement. Go down.
Yes. So here you'll see panels for all of the people or all of the offices that are part of research and innovation. You click on research advancement. Here again is a little brief synopsis of what we do and then some other information. If you keep scrolling down, you will find funding opportunities. If you click on that, we go to the funding opportunities page. As you page down, you will see here's a link for Pivot and instructions on how to set up your PVAMU Pivot account. There's also a link for grants.gov. Both of them have YouTube videos to show you how to use them. However, later this year, we will try and put together a workshop that will walk you through the use of Pivot and how we go about looking at funding opportunities. It also has information about limited submissions. As you page down, there is a general limited submissions procedure that we've talked about. So you do the intent to submit. Here's the button for the intent to submit form that Shonda showed you earlier. You click on that when you decide that you want to submit. And then there's some general guidelines for a pre-proposal. If you keep paging down, here is the table of limited submission opportunities. We are in the process of updating this weekly or bi-weekly. Is when we learn of new limited submission funding opportunities, we'll put this here. You'll see that there are two dates listed here. There's the internal date due and the sponsor date due. Please pay attention to this internal date due because that is when your pre-proposal is due for the selection process. Like we said, once that internal due date has passed and we have all of the pre-proposals, the selection committee will choose the most competitive, and then you will be notified if you're able to move on to the full submission, and that would be the sponsor due date. Ultimately, this page will be updated with those who have been selected to move on to the full proposal submission. So always keep checking back occasionally to see what the table says. And I believe at the bottom of the page is an updating feed of grant opportunities from grants.gov. So this just updates routinely. These are not anything that we have chosen. It's just straight from the feed from grants.gov. So you're always welcome to come and check that out. And if something looks interesting, you can click on it.
Kim, if you don't mind, could you please click on intent to submit and show the limited submission and how it will open up a window for them to submit the document?
Yes.
Thank you.
So again, here is that form that Shonda showed you earlier. So it's a very simple form. If you are doing a limited submission and you check yes, then you will see that this upload appears, and that is where you will upload your pre-proposal. So basically, you can do the intent to submit twice if you know well in advance that you want to submit for the limited opportunity, to let sponsor programs know that you're intending to do this. And then once you have your pre-proposal done, you can come back to this page and upload your file.
Before the deadline?
Before the deadline, yes.
And the point to note there is RF specific instructions can be found in communications from the Office of Research Advancement. So usually the RFP and specific instructions will be emailed to all faculty, and the guidelines should be followed strictly to be considered for review. Thanks, Kim.
Thank you. And so our office exists to assist Krish, myself, and Kim, our ORA. And so now, if there are any questions, please put them in the chat box and Ms. Cotton will read them to us. And Krish is the DJ with some background music from The Who.
First, I want to let everyone know that I did put a link to the sponsored programs office in the chat box. So if you're interested in that, please follow that link. And I've also inserted a survey, a quick survey, if you don't mind completing that, that helps to inform us so that we can always make our training institute better for you. So let's see if there are any questions in the chat box. There's a question.
I know there were some questions earlier as we were speaking that maybe we can address. The first from Dr. Troutman, is the intent to submit form to indicate areas of interest, or is an email sufficient?
I would say when a PI submits an intent to submit form, it goes to both OSP as well as to us. So when we see that form, because it is automatically received by everyone, including VPR, our office will reach out to the PI and will reach out to offer assistance. So it is to the advantage of PI if she or he chooses to submit an intent to submit form online.
Okay, and here's another question. And this has been a question a couple of times. Will the PowerPoint remain available? The PowerPoint, including the presentation, will be available on our YouTube channel, which is PVAMU Research, and we encourage you to subscribe so that you get the latest information and all of the videos that are available. Another question, do you have examples of what you consider to be great and highly successful proposals?
I would refer the person to successful PIs whose names our office can provide, including agencies the questionnaire might be interested in. And I would recommend the person to contact the PI, the successful PI among our faculty, and request for guidance or even for a copy of the project description. It is left to the discretion of the PI to share the proposal with others.
Another question, after the submission of the intent to submit form, could we receive an email confirmation?
Right now, the arrangement is that you will receive a thank you message on the browser. It was brought up to IT even when the form was formatted or configured. Apparently, there was a limitation, at least that is what the IT person who helped me mentioned, and I have taken up the issue with IT again, so if it can be resolved, there shouldn't be any problem.
Thank you. Here's another question. When do I go to ORA versus OSP for proposal questions?
When you are about to submit a proposal, when you are beginning to put together a proposal, you need to, well, you are encouraged to talk to the ORA people. Once you are ready with your project description for budget and other constraints, you can talk to the OSP personnel. In fact, the OSP personnel have been extremely helpful. The moment they know you are going to submit, they will let you know what steps you need to take as you advance in fulfilling different requirements of the RFP. But as far as project description goes, how to put together a proposal, which is extremely important, I would say you need to see the ORA people.
So for confirmation, when it comes to the budget, that's OSP, correct?
Yes, that is correct.
And both Elizabeth and Vita, the proposal administrators, have been really good lately when they get an intent to submit or somebody telling them that they want to submit a proposal. Then they will include ORA on the email so that we know that we can reach out to you to offer our services to assist in your preparation.
And we do all work together. So if you aren't sure, feel free to reach out to any one of us and we can make sure that you get in contact with the correct person.
Okay, here's another question, and I want to remind you again to complete the survey. But here's another question. Do you think you will have enough time to edit and proofread the proposals, for example, grammar?
Yes, it all depends on when we receive it. So if we receive the proposal for editing within 2 days of whatever deadline it is, then yes, we will have time. If we receive it on the same day as the deadline, it is unlikely. So it really depends upon when we receive the proposal.
And yes, and as Shonda said, the more time you give us, the more times that we can go through the proposal and make sure and proofread it and that it's really polished and ready to go in good order. We do have people who wait till the last minute, and we try our best, but we really need at least 24 hours.
And you can also send us pieces as you go. And so sometimes I'll receive components just to say review. Does this seem to be on the right track? How does this sound? Does this make sense? And that may even be early on in your process. And then as you go through, there could be any number of edits. And then finally at the end, we would edit the full proposal given that there is time.
And just one other thing I just remembered. A lot of times you need letters of support for your proposals. And if you need a letter of support from the upper administration, like Dr. Rajan, the VPR, or even the provost or the president, we can help you get those letters. But again, we need those we need that request at least a week to 2 weeks out. So we have enough time to help you prepare the letter and then move it up the chain of command to get whatever signatures are needed.
Karen, there is one other question here.
Here's one question. What guarantees or non-disclosure agreements or controls are put in place to ensure a reviewer on a committee does not capitalize on or share someone's proposal ideas, which could be at a disadvantage of the proposer?
So far, we have not come across any such instance. We rely on academic integrity and ethics, and it is, even if a faculty member doesn't read one's proposal, that faculty member will obviously be aware of other faculty members' research interests. And obviously a department will have many faculty members with varying areas of research interest. There will be collaboration, but it will not be an identical area. So that is what I would say, but we haven't come across any such instance so far, at least in my experience.
Okay. And we have other questions. This may sound like hand-holding, but are you able to put together a proposal preparation plan as a guidepost? And can you get letters from deans?
We do, the outline is kind of what we do for the proposal preparation plan. And it's, if it is hand holding, that's fine. We don't mind holding hands. It's just supporting you and getting the work done. So absolutely, we will develop for the particular RFP, and we can support you in getting letters depending upon who the letter is from. If it is a dean of your specific discipline, then you would do that directly. If you need it from someone outside of your discipline, that is an area where we can support you in getting those letters.
Also, may I mention the upcoming swing series? It is a 3 workshop series. Each one will focus on different aspects of proposal writing. I hope attending those workshops will be very helpful.
Okay, are there any other questions?
Emmanuel, Dada.
Hi, Emmanuel. You have a question?
Yes, I'm on the phone. You didn't give those of us on the phone because we can't chat. So, I can't put any question on the chat. So I have a question.
Okay.
I'm joining from the phone, so I couldn't put it on the chat. So my question is, at the beginning, I don't know who mentioned it, that you can support for whether there be a grant or small grant like $5,000. I think I had that. I'm not sure. I think I had something like that at the beginning. That probably, I know the VP mentioned it at the workshop we had last year, December, that is proposing to give some grants, small grants, one for traveling for 5,000, one for another 5,000. I don't know whether that proposal is still on the table, but I think I had at the beginning of this Zoom meeting that somebody mentioned $5,000. I'm not very sure if I just joined at that time. Thank you.
Krish, I will answer that.
Okay.
So, good afternoon, Dr. Dada. That's a good question.
Yeah, good afternoon. I'm sorry.
I'm glad you remembered that from last December. Unfortunately, we live in a very different world since January. After COVID, after economic crisis and all the social unrest, we are at a very deep financial challenging times. Our office did not receive any funding support to provide the traditionally given summer mini grants. The university is in shortfall, and I think it will be continuing to next year also. However, we tried our best to support some student research needs for undergraduate and graduate students as possible. And that part is already over. from the continuing students from last fall and spring. I am looking currently, but I don't know if I can promise, but I am looking currently to see if we can provide any small, maybe not mini grant, maybe a micro grant to help faculty to purchase supplies or to do certain type of research, particularly related to COVID or economic impact or the social injustice and social unrest related areas. But it's not confirmed yet. Stay tuned. You may hear something or the other in a week or so.
Thank you very much.
Okay, are there any more questions?
There is one, Karen.
Yes.
I think it's in the chat box.
Okay, is ORA familiar with the Templeton Foundation grants, and are you able to assist with those?
I am not familiar with the Templeton Foundation grants. I need to look those up.
But yes, we can assist with whatever the RFP is. We are certainly available to assist. We work with lots of grants from foundations.
So Dr. Yelderman, I recommend that you call someone in the ORA office and they can assist you with that. Okay, well, thank you everyone for joining us for this Research and Innovation Training Institute. It's been a pleasure and it's been a wealth of information. Again, I encourage you to complete the survey that is in the chat box. Very enlightening, and we all know where to go for research proposal development support, and we all know the who. So Krish?
Thank you all for attending. Please feel free to contact us if you need any help or if you have any question. Our main purpose is to help you secure funding for your research, innovation, or scholarly activities. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Everyone,
Bye.
have a great day.
Bye-bye.
I don't see the